A pig once stood trial for murder. A rooster was burned at the stake for allegedly laying eggs. Rats were summoned to court and given a lawyer. Nope, this isn't fiction. These were real legal proceedings in medieval Europe. In today's video, we're exploring the bizarre and fascinating world of animal trials, how they happened, why people believed animals could be guilty of crimes, what the trials looked like, and where they took place. From public executions of pigs in France to legal warnings issued to snails in Italy, this is one of the strangest chapters in legal history. So let's get right into it. To understand why people once sued pigs, we need to take a quick trip back to the Middle Ages. This was a time when religion and law were tightly intertwined. People believed that all creatures, human or otherwise, were part of God's order, and that included moral responsibility. Animals weren't just beasts, they could sin just like humans. So when a pig killed a child, or when a rooster was believed to have laid an egg, it wasn't just weird, it was a threat to the moral and divine balance of society. That rooster incident, it actually happened. In the 15th century Switzerland, a rooster was put on trial and burned at the stake because people believed it laid an egg, a sign of demonic forces and black magic. Back then, something as simple as that could trigger a full-blown trial, and naturally, in all of these cases, that meant a courtroom and a sentence. Animal trials usually fell into two categories, secular and ecclesiastical. Secular courts handled the domestic animals. Pigs were the usual suspects. These animals lived among people and sometimes committed very serious crimes, like mauling children or destroying property. In one famous case from 1386, a pig in France was dressed in human clothes and publicly hanged for killing a child. The trial was fully documented. Witnesses were called, the pig had a defense attorney, and justice, as they saw it, was served. On the other hand, ecclesiastical courts dealt with swarms of pests, like rats, locusts, or even weevils. The court would issue formal summonses and excommunicate the animals or command them, under threat of divine punishment, to leave the area. Excommunication wasn't just for humans. Believe it or not, these weren't quick or informal punishments. Animal trials often followed strict legal procedure. A prosecutor would lay out the charges, and the animal, assuming it was a domestic one, would be given a defense lawyer. These weren't just figureheads either. There are records of lawyers delivering long, complex arguments in defense of their animal clients. In some cases, animals were acquitted. In others, judges delayed proceedings if they thought the defendant wasn't properly represented. In one case from 15th century France, a lawyer argued that the rats didn't show up to court because it was too dangerous to travel due to all the cats in town. The judge accepted the reasoning and postponed the trial. It all sounds absurd now, but it shows just how seriously they took these matters. Justice, even when applied to a goat or a rat, was supposed to be fair. So what was really going on here? Scholars believe these trials served several purposes. They were partly about maintaining moral order, reminding society that evil had consequences, even in the animal kingdom. But they also reinforced human control over nature, and by extension, divine control over the world. In a world filled with uncertainty, like plagues and mysterious diseases, these trials gave people a sense of structure. They could name a culprit, pass a sentence, and restore a sense of cosmic justice. They were also public spectacles. Executions of pigs or other animals were attended by large crowds. It was law, religion, and theater all rolled into one. Now, where did this all take place? Animal trials were most common in France, Italy, Switzerland, and parts of Germany. France had by far the most documented cases. Over 200 animal trials are recorded in French legal history alone. In towns like Falaise and Fontenay-aux-Roses, pigs were executed by hanging or burned at the stake in full public view. In Italy, trials were often led by church authorities. Cities like Modena and Turin issued legal warnings to caterpillars, rats, and snails. If they didn't leave the crops, they were excommunicated. No joke, official court records exist showing these declarations. This wasn't just one odd village, it was a continent-wide phenomenon that spanned centuries. Strange as it may seem, these animal trials tell us a lot about how people in the past try to make sense of chaos, suffering, and the unknown. But this is just one of many bizarre corners of history we've explored on this channel. If you thought this was weird, make sure to watch my video on the dancing plague. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.